Hello, my name is Dakota Snow, and for this project of Unheard Music History, I will be reporting on the legacy of Salamone Rossi, an Italian canzonetta and instrumental music composer during the late 16th and early 17th century. Now, the sources seem to be conflicted on how to spell Rossi's first name, so I went with the one that has a second A rather than O because that's what's listed in the source that I have at the end of this PowerPoint. So, anyways, not much is entirely known about the birth, death, or even familial relations of Rossi, but his connections to plenty of high class Italian officials was well recorded in the city of Mantua, Italy, including the Duke of the region, Vincenzo Gonzaga, pictured here. The Gonzaga family was a very large contributor to the arts, making Mantua a cultural hub of the Lombardy province through commissioning grand works such as Monteverdi's Orfeo rather, and Gagliano's Daphne. But back to Rossi, while he may be a man whose origin is commonly tied to a Western European upbringing, a lot of his lack in privilege during this era came from his Jewish heritage, of which Vincenzo revoked a lot of the drawbacks for Rossi during his tenure. In particular, a requirement for Jewish citizens of Mantua regarding the application of yellow insignias was lifted specifically for Rossi in 1606 and continued even after Gonzaga's death in 1612. But still, he didn't have a portrait made, which is why there's no picture here. Um, but anyways, while he was most known at the time and place for his large contributions to the Western classical tradition of his secular works into canzonettas and madrigals alongside his instrumental compositions, one of the most unique pieces of his discography would have to be Hasharim Asher Lishlomo, which would be seen which could be seen as a degradation to the sacred styles of polyphony during the Reformation and prior eras in the 33 pieces collected here. However, realizing the cultural significance of this collection is crucial, with Hasharim Asher Lishlomo being the first attempt since the invention of the printing press for music based on sacred Hebrew hymns to be published. In addition to this, it could also be argued that this collection is also one of the first to make use of compiling all of these particularly older compositional styles together into a smorgasbord of musical traditions from Italian secular instrumental music to Hebrew sacred and even secular cultural forms such as wedding vows. As such, in terms of the popular culture of Judaism was concerned, Rossi was a trailblazer to other Jewish composers and instrumentalists at the time for them to bring their to bring them to build their past to success, including the only known family of Salomone Rossi, his sister and professional singer, Madame Europa. And the piece I will show you is an excerpt of a rendition of the finale of these songs from Hashirim Ashur Lishnomo, titled Le Mi et Fots, as performed by Pavel Kuhn and his associated Kuhn chamber soloists. Beautiful. Now, other notes regarding Salomone Rossi's musical conquests include his aid in the transformation of what is known today as the trio sonata. While a lot of light and polyphonic vocal pieces litter Rossi's portfolio, it should be noted that the bulk of Rossi's work was involved in writing instrumental music, seeing how he was a violist himself, as ascertained by the registration records of the Mantuan court. As such, he helped to arrange a lot of instrumental works from being all set in the middle in terms of frequencies and timbre to the more polar settings commonly seen in the form of trio sonatas between two upper melody voices and two instruments to carry the basso continuo. As a matter of fact, a majority of his work regarding this transformation is believed to be mimicked in terms of form and blend from one of Rossi's first published works, 1989's Canzonet, likely helping to recontextualize this piece and work for a new audience of listeners to instrumental music in the public realm during the early 17th century. So basically, you could say he was the equivalent to a 16th century Taylor Swift with how she's re recording all of her albums, but that might be a stretch. But, anyways, as such, Rossi was important in carrying the tradition from the elite listening sphere to the wider range of the general public and Mantua, alongside being financially supported, unlike any Jewish composer before him, allowing other Jewish musicians and composers to build off of his success. And these are all the works cited that I use. I know, two of them. But yeah, thanks so much. Hope you learned something.